Before the season even kicks off, soccer fans are already making predictions. Who wins the league? Who qualifies for Europe? And who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code CUP26 to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, Kalshi. Trade the beautiful game. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Social Media Derby. We've got the return of Khem to the pod, which you'll either be clapping or crying. Razor's literally just joined now. Perfect timing, broski. In today's episode, we'll go through obviously the transfer window so far. Arsenal signing Bruno Guimaraes, missing out on Vinicius Junior, which we'll touch on. And then obviously United, Liverpool not doing too much. Chelsea doing a lot as usual. We'll dig into all of that stuff. And then we've also got football, lads. Community Shield tomorrow. Arsenal against Man City. We'll preview that as well. And yeah, we'll dig into everything that's happened in the last couple of weeks. But before we get into it, for those watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment and share if you can. For those listening on Spotify, Apple, or any of the other podcasting platforms, please follow, give us a 5-star review. It all helps grow the pod. And of course, the views expressed in this pod are just jokes, entertainment purposes, do not reflect the opinions of anyone affiliated or any organisations connected to any of us, because it's all jokes and football banter. How you doing? Jonty's back as well. I forgot to mention, back in the UK. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing all right, mate. I'm doing all right. Watched us win a beautiful penalty shootout against Como recently, which was lovely.
Mate, that Como... Oh, yeah, you guys went live to watch it, didn't you? The Como goal that they scored was an absolute slapper. I don't know who that Don was, but that was a great goal.
Stinks.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Khem, how you doing, bro? Back to absolutely slander Richard Hughes and FSG, or are you going to be upbeat on this return to the pod?
Richard Hughes... he just needs to go. That's it, really. But as I said earlier, thank you to these guys for saving football. So I wanted to...
yeah, you haven't been back on since the Champions League final, have you? So, I know that's a tactical PSG top on, and I hear it. Razor, how you doing, bro? Arsenal at the Emirates, back ready for the new season, yeah?
Yeah, man. Always good to be back home watching some interesting football. I feel like pre-season friendlies are always like interesting because people like watch them and they're like, oh my God, so-and-so looks so good. And oh my God, so-and-so looks terrible. And it's just like, it is a good indicator, but it's never a super accurate indicator for the actual Premier League intensity for like actual competitive football. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of our new players get into that. But I agree with Jonty. One thing that we can take away from pre-season is that Khem and Razor needs to go. But where he goes, I'm not super fussed at this point in time. He just needs to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Kepa chat on the timeline after that last friendly. Apparently he didn't cover himself in glory. But pre-season points, I agree, bro. Pre-season Pereira used to be our jam at United. Andreas Pereira used to just play like Pirlo in friendlies, and then an actual minute of proper football kicked off and he looked useless. So I hear you. Friendlies are a bit of a strange one. Sometimes they don't really reflect. I remember we had a pre-season with Van Gaal where we were slapping everyone left, right and centre, and then first game of the season we got battered by Swansea at home. So it's tough out here. But let's get into the transfer stuff then, because pre-season stuff's been all over the shop. Penalty shootouts after winning or losing games. I hate this stuff, but let's not get me raging. Let's talk about Arsenal. Big signing through the door. Johnson's alluded to in his little tagline. Bruno Guimaraes comes from Newcastle for 75 million. what do you guys make of the signing? And I know he played a little bit, didn't he, in that Como game? So I know we can't read into it too much, but Jonty, I'll go to you. What do you make of the signing, and how gassed are you to have the ex-Newcastle captain at Arsenal?
I'm happy with the signing. I think it is obviously a signing that I think we can say will improve 11 just based off of the fact that, last season, yes, Zubimendi was good for the first portion of it, kind of tailed off near the end. Obviously, MLS came, was really strong, started the Champions League final, and that was a good 11. But I would argue, from the point of view of starting the season, every game across the 30-game season, I imagine that Bruno is going to play a vast majority of those games, right? And we obviously know that Rice is going to be taking an extended break. I think from that point of view, it really, really, it's exciting to see us actually make that kind of signing. I think some people are overdoing it a little bit. I've heard some people saying a biggest signing of the window, this kind of stuff. I mean, I think it's a very good signing, and it will be the top, I think, by the end of it. But from the point of view of we've seen Elliot Anderson go for 100 million, which I know is still a lot to come from him in terms of he's going from Forest to City, right? He hasn't proved at the highest level. But there's been some pretty big signings already this season. I think it's obviously good to get a Premier League team's best player. And I would Man United a couple of seasons ago, I was singing your praises going out and buying the best players from other Premier League teams, right? And they're not necessarily going to be top 4 teams, but they're Premier League proven. And that's the big thing with Bruno G, is that he obviously has been in this league for a while. I know Newcastle fans now trying to downplay what they thought of him and trying to say oh yeah, Tonali was always our favourite. And I'm just these lot are full of it. But he was obviously one of their better players, right? I'd argue he's their best, or at least one of the top 3 players in that team, right? So it's positive from that point of view. But I do not want to forget that is not, position-wise, was not our number 1 priority, at least from my mind, right? Everyone's always said attack is the biggest part. How can you be a Premier League winner and your defenders and your defensive midfielder is the one that's going up for your player of the season, this, that, and other, right? All of that malarkey. And obviously they're overdoing it. But from the point of view of attacking-wise, we do need to improve our attack, right? Ideally, we need a stronger left winger. And we won't get into it, but I'd ideally also like to see a stronger right wing backup than what we've got today. So, yeah, I think there's still more to come. Bruno G is a good signing, good signs, but from my point of view, the window should not be over, and I don't want people to be so gassed on Bruno G that they forget that we need an attacking signing.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that, to be fair. Razor, a lot of people are now saying adding Bruno G to a Declan Rice double pivot could potentially make Arsenal's midfield the best in the league or the strongest in the league. Do you think that's a fair judgment based on the quality of Rice last season and obviously what John said about grabbing? I know Newcastle didn't play that well, didn't finish that well last season, but they've been in and out of the Champions League. Bruno G's been one of the better players. They've been a top 6, top 8 team for most of the time he was there. Do you think that makes you lot's midfield the strongest in the league, or do you think you got to wait until a ball's kicked?
Yeah, I would love to say it confidently makes our midfield the best in the league, but there's so many different variables coming into, especially midfield and some of the big clubs now. Do you know what I mean? We haven't seen, I'm sure we'll talk a bit about United in a bit, but United, I think, have done some really smart business in this window. They've basically changed their midfield from what was last season Casemiro of no legs left, and they've brought in and whoever they could get to float around him while Bruno chased the assist record. Do you know what I'm saying? They've now galvanized it where they've got completely different profiles, different players. So I feel very good. I feel very confident. But I think, when I'm looking at United's midfield, when I'm looking at other teams that are City, we were just talking about, they've invested again, and they managed to sell all their players for profit again. But yeah, I think there's going to be some interesting sort of dynamics in midfield in some of the bigger teams this season. And I think it's too soon to say. I think it's easy to say that about Arsenal because we kind of know what our midfield is going to look like. We kind of anticipate, we know what they're going to play like, and we're just adding a player that we think suits the profile of that to it. So I think there's been a lot of excitement there. But I wouldn't go too early because sometimes you can be early and wrong. So I need, yeah.
Quotable of one of our returning casts today. Khem, what do you make of the signing? And then we'll get into Vinicius Junior, which I'm sure you've got a lot more to say on. But what do you make of Bruno G going to Arsenal? Do you think that really improves their midfield?
Yeah, it does. It was already a difficult midfield. He's got a good setup, especially out of possession. And then adding Bruno to that will be a strong dynamic for them. He's a good player. Like, I know Newcastle fans are always going to do that, but they've been getting raided for like 2 years now. I think they're an embarrassment, to be honest. I think the Saudis wish they'd probably pick someone else, if I'm honest. And he suits Arsenal as well because he is a thug. And obviously that's been their style of play for about 18 months. So it's perfect fit, like, for the manager and the team. So kudos to them. Premier League experience, international experience, and I think it's a good fee in today's market. I feel like 75 to 80 mils are old 30 to 40 mil, kind of how we used to look at it. We have to sort of bump everything up now. And especially when you compare it to people like Elliot Anderson and some of these dumb fees, I think it's really well done. I think Tonali went for more to Spurs, didn't he? Was it 80? Mm-hmm. I know it's not much difference, 100. But
it's 100.
Fuck,
yeah.
Was it 100?
100.
Oh,
yeah,
Lord,
100,
mercy.
Yeah.
So when you look at it like that, when he's arguably the better midfielder, and he will only be suspended because of yellow cards or reds, not betting. So it's fine. You can trust him to like perform and step up and take a pen. Unlike Vinicius, who absolutely bottle taking a pen and then decided to use these guys as a way of getting more money out of Perez to pay for a new chin. That is absolutely disgraceful. Arsenal, when you go gym, are you just doing push and legs? Because you got no pull, man. What's happened? You won the league, and all you signed is a thug.
That is an absolute disgrace. How many times have you been fired off?
We signed the best centre forward that wasn't Haaland. We've made Germans
from Newcastle. You signed Newcastle's best player, which is literally what we did this season.
Yeah, exactly. But we signed someone that you wanted. No, not everyone wanted Bruno.
How did Caicedo go?
Chinny actually used you guys. That is disgraceful. I can't believe that happened. I think that's outrageous from him.
But Khem, as another Arsenal rival, right? Was there any point to talk about Vinicius where you actually thought they may pull the deal off, or did you always think it was a classic Barca, Real Madrid using a foreign club for a new contract? Be honest.
It's a classic thing. I'll be honest. I think he would have disrupted their harmony there. I was honestly saying this to friends that are Arsenal fans. I would have been happy if they got him because he would have disrupted what they have right there. Because he won't run back, whereas Arsenal's wide players, pretty much everyone gets involved with the dirty work. He's not going to do that. Dare he be at risk of a 007 freaking Twitter slander? You know what he's like, okay? He freaking got mad when they won the Clasico because he didn't score and Xabi got sacked like a few weeks after that. He's such a prima donna and he'd have broken apart everything that they've built the last couple of seasons because I think they have harmony there. Yeah, they've not brought anyone in, but they've not lost anyone. Like, no one's gone looking for a new contract or gone running to be the star guy somewhere else. They've all kind of stuck around. They look like they're ready to run it back as a squad and they've kept that continuity. So I think that's a strength in itself. Some players have got injured, but a lot of players will be coming back fit. You've people like Eze have this now their second season. They're a bit more up to speed. So, I feel like there's still a strength in their window in that regard that they've kept like their key players. People like Skelly will be more involved, you'd assume, especially in midfield, not left back and stuff like that. Madueke might improve. You never know. So. Yeah, and there's still time in the window. I think when does it end? Is it September 2nd? So there's still time.
That brings it to a nice point. Do you think that they will go and get an alternative then? Or do you think is there any chance that because they did buy Zolis, right? Who, again, the timelines have been saying he's looked pretty good in pre-season. I know, take it a pinch of salt, but, I've heard he's a pretty good corner taker as well. So I know that adds a few extra points as well, an Arsenal thing. So do you not think there's any possibility that they just stick with Martinelli and Zolis, or do they have to go and get someone else?
Yeah, I mean, Martinelli's a Premier League winner. I've seen them in the past say they'd rather have him than Mbappe. So I think they're doing good with what they have. And
you just talked about not
carry
breaking the
on.
harmony, so maybe that makes sense. Who knows? But let's be honest, lads. Right? So there was probably at most ever about a 30% chance that he was going to come here, right? And I think the big thing was if Real Madrid on the table, if they'd end up on, if they gave anything more, because you look at the contract, right? They didn't give him all of his demands, right? I think it was the image rights thing. There was two big things, right? It was the image rights thing that they broke for for Mbappe. And then it was the signing on bonus. He wanted like a re-signing bonus that they gave basically a huge amount of money to Mbappe when he signed on, right? Because he was coming for free. Those are the two things that seemingly were like the big things that he was asking for. They didn't break both of those. If I remember correctly, they haven't given him the re-signing bonus, but they've given him more of the image rights, but still not the same amount that Mbappe gets. I think Mbappe got like 80% of his image rights, right? Whereas I think Vini was only on 50 and the squad's only on 50. So I think they've upped it a little bit to like 60, 70, something like that, which apparently equates to like more than like 100K a week for him in terms of his actual salary, which is why it was never going to be possible for Arsenal to match Real Madrid's offer, is that we don't do that image rights stuff. Players get to keep the entirety of their image rights. None of our teams do anything like Real Madrid, right? So he was going to be able to get more than he's getting paid now or what, just through that, without us having to actually give him any more money. So I think from my point of view, like as long as they gave him the olive branch and showed him, put the arm around him, and Jose and Florentino Perez kind of showed him that they want to keep him, as soon as that happened, he was going to stay, right? Because we all, the Brazilians, they want to play for Barca and Real Madrid, right? They're not looking at English teams really at all. And if they are, it's the legacy ones like Man United and Liverpool, unfortunately, right? From my view, I don't think it was ever like truly his first option. It was always like, if I can't stay at Real Madrid, if they slap me in the face, then the next team I'll go to is Arsenal. I think we tried to put ourselves essentially in the prime position to be the one that, the plan B option, essentially, right? And it might hurt Arsenal fans, but that's the truth, right? We were always going to be the second option. The first option was always going to be staying at Real Madrid. So from the point of view of anyone ever saying that we had like an 80%, 60%, 50% chance of getting him, it was all 100% dependent on whether Real Madrid were going to make any kind of concession for him. So I think what you have to do, right, you have to throw your hat in the ring. I think you guys would agree, right? Antony, Khem, you'd agree if it were you in the same position, you'd want your team to throw the ring, make sure that if he wasn't going to stay at Real Madrid, that he was going to come to you. And especially in the context of the market, we were talking about it kind of offline. You've got Cola, you've got a lot of like what I'm going to call still unproven wingers that are commanding like 130, 140, like offering asking prices. In the context of that market, you've got to try whatever you can do to get someone who's like a verified baller in a wing position. Outside of like Kvaratskhelia, who really is there, right? Like Leao kind of fell off. A lot of the key left wingers have somewhat fallen off the last years. And now we're talking about Yildiz, we're talking about Rodgers, we're talking about Barcola. Like the ones that are available aren't really proven, and definitely from my perspective, not worth the 100+ million that people are trying to ask for them. So I feel like we've got to do it. But I will say to your original question, I honestly can see like a large chance that we don't buy anyone, because Arsenal have shown over years that we don't just go out there and buy stupid people if we don't need to. But like if, as an example with Mudryk, right? They pushed the price up. We said, forget that. We'll go and get like someone that's just going to fill in for now, right? Short-term signing. It worked out well for us then. But we've seen it in other cases too, where we just go and buy someone just to fill in that may not be our first option. It works out okay because of, let's say, the strength of the league. But if we were coming up against a Centurion City or like a, Liverpool, 90+ point Liverpool, I think we'd be pushed more to try and do something with that. But I think in the context where we all are, the fact that there's so many new managers, I'm going to be honest with you, I think that we're probably going to rest on our laurels and start the season with Martinelli and especially if like the bids we're getting, number one, are coming from Turkey, that Martinelli's literally just come out and said he doesn't want to go to Turkey. Right? Number two, they're offering us 50 million euros. I'm sorry. If Madueke, and I know that we paid this, if Madueke paid that and Barcelona paid for Gordon, I'm sorry, Martinelli is better than Gordon.
I think it's a good
deal. I
waffled
a lot there, but that's mental. Come on now.
No, I hear
how many years does Martinelli have left on his deal, by the way?
I think it's 2. It's 1 plus club option.
Maybe that's why they've offered lower.
That is probably why his
value's more. 80 million for a 29-year-old that had 1 year left on his deal. So shut up, man.
I know,
paying loads of money for 1 year.
I think what they're doing.
No, I think no, but I mean Arsenal, even like with the if we talk about the Guimaraes deal, right? I get what you're saying, Khem, in terms of the context of like Rodgers going for crazy, Anderson going for crazy, but it's still quite a pricey deal. I think originally Arsenal wanted to spend like 60, right? Which I think would have been fair for him. But I know that the market screwed it, and that's why they've ended up having to pay more, which I think probably is a slight overpay. But if he wins the league and he contributes, no one's going to give a crap, right? Because it ultimately just comes down to that.
I think it's a good price. He's cheaper than Harry Maguire and Nicolas Pepe in today's market.
But that's a ridiculous comparison because we all say that those deals stink. So you're comparing it to the stinky deals and saying it's good. Well, compare it to a good deal.
No, I think no. It's fair to say this, right? Like I get you on
but that's like 7 years on,
and his age. The 1 year left in his age, I get that. But from the point of view of that, Newcastle already got raided for everyone, so they weren't looking to go with anyone. I think that plus the fact that Chelsea keep messing this market up and Man City keep messing this market up by paying 9-figure plus for dons that have fucking Nottingham Forest.
Don't forget Liverpool too.
I agree. Man City ruined the market. Man City done it this year because they overpaid before the World Cup, for crying out loud, for a guy that
they look like they're going to do it 3 times, bro. They're going to do it for Anderson, Buadi, and now they're apparently going to try and do it for Enzo as well. They put 105 million in for Enzo, which is mental money. They're going to do it 3 times in one
Anderson
window.
Rejected United. Everyone knew he was going to City. That could have been a nice little transfer saga all throughout summer, and the price could have been like 80 or 90, something sensible. So City fucked it this year. We can hold the raps for last year. We did, but this year's on City.
But to be honest, even with the Anderson thing, it was a Marinakis. A bidding war was never gonna. A bidding war was never actually gonna work. He set the price at that price. We said that's crazy. And Man City said, we'll do it and we'll pay you 500k on top of it. It was a similar thing for Semenyo earlier. We were interested in him and then the price got crazy and we didn't do it. These guys are miserly on the United side. They've gone from spending crazy amounts to now not wanting to spend much at all. So, but the market is what the market is. But I think if I was you, I would be happy to shift Martinelli, but only even at that price, but only if you got the prime target that you want. So if you haven't got the prime target, I wouldn't sell him for that price. It would have to be a crazy overpay.
What's 50 million euros going to do if you need to pay 140 million for Barcola? Like, what? That's not even touching the sides.
I know. But this is why I wouldn't do it, because I would do that if it was for Vinny, because he was your prime target and you know that that's the key guy. You think he's going to be a game changer for you. You'll find a way. You'll probably flog some other players to try and bridge the gap. And you're just trying to make up whatever number you need to hit. But I would definitely not. We'll come to the Liverpool section with Barcola in a minute. But yeah, for the players that you mentioned being the alternative, I understand why you might just stick with Martinelli and Zolis. Like, I mean, unless you can somehow get Kvara or Due, they're probably the only 2 apart from Vinny that I would consider really going crazy in the market to spend on. But I don't know. What do you think, Razor, in terms of the Martinelli, Zolis or alternative chat?
I mean, I think the Vinny situation, I think there's been a little bit of like, Arsenal kind of irrational energy towards it, in the sense that like, one of the things that Arsenal have always been bantered for is not going and getting that player that's a level raiser, not being involved in those discussions, you know, like the classic Arsenal tweet. It's like, these men are linked with these guys and these men are linked with these guys, and we're linked with some 19-year-old from the 9th best league in Europe. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, well, how do you get involved in those discourses and discussions? And I think, to be honest, I think in terms of like how Arsenal kind of like handled the situation and conducted themselves in the pursuit of Vinny, I think was like, as Jonty said, it's like what you want is the club acting like a big team and getting stuck in. And I also think it puts us in good stead because Arsenal have been accused, as you just said, referring to United, but Arsenal have been very often accused in the past of being miserly, of being penny pinchers, of not wanting to like spend the cash on big name elite players that would improve our squad. Do you know what I'm saying? So, okay, cool. We didn't get Vinny. As everyone knows, Real Madrid is the be all and end all for most footballers. I don't even think if it's like Brazilian footballers or footballers of a certain generation. It's Real fucking Madrid, bro. So I think there, what we did was we were basically like, we were moving kind of like backdoory, innit? Like we were kind of like, oh, what? The bad B. You're not getting on with your man. He's not treating you right. He don't appreciate you. I could change your life. Do you know what I mean? Whether the relationship would have been more fulfilling for the bad B if this was to happen in a different multiverse strand, there's a completely different story. And I think Vinny saw that. He was like, I've seen people say that he chose being comfortable over like a new challenge. I think, like, to be honest, he just looked at the whole situation, and Madrid as a whole situation suits him and his brand and what he's doing better. And I don't think necessarily we may have even had a plan as much as the fan base would have wanted us to. I don't think we may have necessarily even had like a bolted on plan, like we're going to go and get like a left winger and another left winger. Do you know what I mean? I think Trossard was going to go. I think that was down to age and like some other things, like how much playtime he wanted to get. We were talking about this before last season started with Trossard. So I think it was always going to be a one more season. Thankfully, we got the medals. Yeah, like I don't know if it's more like we need to have a left winger, or it's more a case of there was a top class left winger available and we could use support in that space. I agree with Jonty. I don't think there's going to be any panic within the Arsenal sort of setup about getting a new left winger in. And it's the conversation that we always have when we're talking about this stuff as football fans, isn't it? It's like, all right, cool. Vinny's unattainable. I would say Kvaratskhelia looks unattainable. If I was PSG, I wouldn't sell him. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Barcola seems to be going to Merseyside Red. So Doué's going nowhere. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, how many people left, how many players in the world game, in the top European clubs right now, top clubs worldwide, how many of them are actually that much of an improvement? I'm not going to repeat all of Martinelli's very, very impressive stats that Jonty did already. I'm not going to talk about Eden Hazard. Sorry again, Reese. But like, how many of them are actually tangibly going to land in the Prem and make a splash bigger than Martinelli? Also, Martinelli's at 25. So have we seen the best of him? Is there a level that he can improve? I personally, maybe I'm being optimistic. I feel like we've seen flashes of what Martinelli can be at his best. He hasn't had like that consistent season in time with the rest of the team operating or not injuries or whatever. So I don't think it's a crazy gamble. I feel like a lot of people have written him off because they want a shiny new toy, and I completely understand that. But I don't think people are talking about it as if like going into the season with Martinelli and Zolis is like some big disaster. And I don't know if it is that much of a disaster. I am much more concerned about our levels of depth in the centre right back kind of area of the pitch. For example.
I think no, so let me to that. So on the like the first point I'll make is right, like people are trying to dunk on us, just like you said, right? Whereas I was hearing before when it was right now. Look at Khem right now. Yeah, no, when it was more serious, right? When it was more serious and people actually thought, oh, there might be a chance here. People started discussing, is this the biggest move that the Premier League's ever seen, right? And I was hearing Ozil come up, I was hearing Pogba come up, I was hearing Haaland come up. I was hearing these kinds of where people saying, okay, Di Maria, like these types of dons, right? And I was hearing, okay, is this as big? And I thought there was consensus at least that people were saying actually, like in terms of the level of the player now and the fact that Real Madrid actually want to keep him, this would be the biggest transfer. And then when it doesn't happen, it's everyone, you've got no pull. Like, well, none of us have got any pull because none of us were going to get him. It's not like we're talking about, he just rejected Arsenal and he wants to go to City. Like that, I'd be fine. Someone was to dunk on us because City came in and stole him like halfway through, which has happened before, right? But from the point of view of he's literally rejected the entire move come into the Premier League. It's not as if he's like just said, "Oh, Arsenal are shit. I don't want to go to them." So that's the first thing I'll say. The second thing I'll say is just like on that cap, right? You either go and spend big money on someone that's proven, right, that you know will definitely make your team better. If not, you go and buy one of these kind of like somewhat ambiguous, unknown players and try and turn them into something, right? So, for example, you try and buy Zolis. You try and buy is his name Munoz, the winger that Liverpool tried to buy, right? Like, what's his name? Yeah, Munoz, right? You try and buy like these types of players. You try and buy the ones that aren't going to like absolutely rinse your wallet, that might turn into something into the future, right? The only people that buy these kind of mid-category for crazy prices are, number one, the teams that give absolutely zero shits about money, and number two, the ones that are desperate, aka Man City and Chelsea. But Arsenal are not going to shop. I don't think genuinely we're going to shop in that category of spending 130 million on someone that is not verified going to improve our team. That's what I say, like, Zolis already kind of meets that category of he might turn into something. You know, when we were like linked with Mika Gotst from Ajax, who was gone to PSG, like those are the types of things I could see us doing. But now I don't see that there's like a really verified superstar out there that would definitely improve our team, right? We're talking about Yildiz and Alvarez. I'm sorry. I mean, if you've watched them play, I've seen Alvarez play. When he was at City, he was good. When he's been at Atletico Madrid, he hasn't been quite as good, but he's also not really a left winger anyway. So I think from that point of view, that's why I kind of default to the idea that I don't think Arsenal will go out and buy Barcola for 130 million or something crazy like that. I think we'll look for a good deal, or we'll look for someone that's somewhat unknown. But even that, I feel like I already kind of ticked that box with Zolis. So I have a strong suspicion that we'll go into the season with the team that we've got. We'll probably go and buy Costa or someone similar to that. But I don't see that we're actually going to go and buy like a verified left winger outside of what we've already got.
Strong agree. I don't think shout out Alt Fury 777.
Yeah, big up.
I'm not sure if Arteta needs a second opinion on this one, but I feel like he is someone that has a lot of trust in the boys that are there. And you know, there were points at last season. There were lots of points around this time last season. And for all of the chat, there is a very disingenuous point to be made that, like, everyone said, you know, you're one piece away. You need a striker. We got Gyökeres. People wanted to talk about how good Gyökeres was or how pretty his touch was. Unrelated, but Jonty gaslit me into thinking that Gyökeres was capable of extreme tech in the Emirates.
He was playing. It was a player that I was very far away from. He was in the center of the pitch. So I was thinking,
it's my fault as well, because I trusted Jonty's eyesight. I trusted Jonty's eyesight as well.
No, just anything Gyökeres with John.
Nah, get out of it. All right, you one said that Gyökeres is the worst striker you've ever seen. So don't even try and chat to me about
Big Six.
A lot.
Now he's got his qualifiers on it.
No, that's what I said at the time.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. We can get real disingenuous with it. Like, Noni Madueke has a Premier League medal. He's got more than Steven Gerrard.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so what's to say that whether we think Noni's great, whether we think Vic's great individually or as a player, if they suit the style that we want, in terms of when people talk about like these big transfers come to Arsenal, the thing that they keep talking about, and probably one of the most credible, Khem does have credible points every now and again. And I think what he said, my biggest concern about Vinny was the effect that it would have on the dressing room. And everyone's talking about wage structure and training and out of possession and pressing. And it's like, there's also just like vibes. And I think we've got something there in terms of vibes, in terms of harmony, whatever you want to call it, like everyone playing for the gaffer. And I don't necessarily think that parachuting in a player and being like, this player is going to save the day is really what Arsenal are like on to, you know, Jonty's like point. I don't think no one was thrilled with like a Noni Madueke signing, but we understood that. And we weren't thrilled with where he came from, and we weren't thrilled with the price. But like I said on the podcast around this time last year, well, no, just that we needed someone to be a backup to Saka in it. So when you start looking and shopping in that very specific basket, like who's of the quality, has the experience, is going to be happy to come and be like, I'm second fiddle to the guy that we call Starboy. You've also got the same thing all over the pitch at Arsenal. We have an issue now with the number one spot. Like, who is going to come in and accept that they're probably just going to play like a couple cup runs, and who's going to be good enough to do that? The answer is not Kepa. But then when you look at top keepers, I personally think he's great. I think he's been brilliant in preseason. I think a lot of people wrote him off before really seeing him play and seeing what he's back at. And I think when he builds his confidence up, he looks definitely better.
He's better than Marmaduke.
Yeah, and we've got the same. We've got the same thing at centre back. When all of our centre backs are free, you know, I rate Mascara, I rate Hincapié, I rate people who want to come and play in the best defensive unit in Europe, statistically, and be like, yeah, I'm going to fight for a place in there. But
I hear your point. I agree with you. You know what? I agree with that point that Khem raised and everything you've said on top of it. It makes sense. But the only counterpoint I'll say before we move on to Liverpool and United and get into the Community Shield preview is that I think because that process has taken you now to the title, you've got that base, right? I feel like a lot of people are now looking for you to be able to win a Champions League final, or, you know, like a game where you need that intangible bit of star quality. I think that's part of what Alt Theory's point was. Not this comment now about Noni, because we can't get into that, otherwise this will go 2 hours long. But the previous one about signing a proven winger might be, maybe there's some truth in it, right? Because Martinelli, I think the key to unlocking Martinelli is changing the style. I think the style when Martinelli, Odegaard, Saka were cooking like 3 years ago was very different than this one, which is, I mean, to Alt Theory, he says it's ultra defensive. Fair enough. A lot of people think that way too. But the style will need to change for Martinelli to do better. And maybe there is some point in Arteta's got so much power that it would take a superstar signing to come in and disrupt a little bit to make him actually change his plan a bit. But the downside is what you guys said.
I think
it can go wrong.
But I actually think that he's already. So, all right. So to the point of when Martinelli best, right? It's when we've had space in behind, when we've been able to play that, right? With Xhaka playing balls in behind, right? That was when we weren't necessarily thought of in the same way on now, right? Ever since then, we've obviously been, and I'm not going to belabor this point too much, but my point is just that we come up against a very different type of opposition, right? In terms of defense. Even in the comment against Como, why are you coming during a preseason game and sticking 11 men behind the ball? Like, try something out, says Fabregas.
Jonty was great.
Why are you not trying to at least play against us, you stupid twat? And as soon as he did actually start playing against us, they scored an absolute banger of a goal that Kepa should have. But my point is, like, with Martinelli, he's never going to be one of those like skillful, close control type ballers that's going to help you break down a lock. But I do think that Zolis could be, because one of the big things I'll say about Zolis actually is the exact opposite of Martinelli. He's got zero pace, but he's all work. Like, he's all close control. You can see him do that little tip-tappy thing that he does. He can whip the ball in, but he just doesn't have very much pace. So I actually think that Arteta's already kind of, like, let's say, preparing our squad essentially for multiple styles, just like you've seen him do in other areas of the pitch, right? Like, Madueke does not play at all like Saka, right? Gyökeres does not play at all like our previous strikers. A lot of the stuff he does is just building out an inbuilt flexibility or versatility in our team. And again, to my point, if you've got Martinelli games where the games are a bit more open, if you've now got Zolis for the games where we're a bit more packed in, low blocks, I actually feel like he's going to look at it and say, you know what, forget, we've the two like pieces we need for the types of defenses that we're going to come up against. So we'll just leave it at that. Because you look at Barcola. Sorry, if you watch Barcola, do you get the feeling that he's going to be able to break down a low block with footwork? I definitely don't. If it was Doué, I'd say, yeah, sure. Doué can do that. But Barcola sounds like a French Martinelli, bruv. He's just going to run in behind and slap goals into the bottom corner, which will be great in the Champions League. But he was shit in the Champions League last year. So it's even there. I'm like, well, what's the point?
Yeah, let's move on to United. We'll do Liverpool after that, just because I've got a cut in a bit. So United, diddly squat has happened. The fan base are losing their minds. We're looking at left backs now after being promised the third midfielder for like 6 weeks. So I do think there is some merit, or there's some like genuine reasoning behind why some of the fans are losing their mind. But now we've been linked with Lewis Hall for the whole summer, but to John's, Khem, everyone's points about everyone raiding Newcastle, this may be one step too far. Apparently, he really wants to leave, though. But I just don't know if that's doable, considering we are not trying to pay huge fees for anyone at the moment. So that's the big left back. Obviously, there were those kind of very strange rumours linking Lewis Skelly to Chelsea and United during the week, but it pretty much got quashed on the same day. And I can't really see that happening because he's a really good option for you guys to have in midfield and cover for left back. So I really can't see that happening unless something really strange happens. And then after that, we're talking about really bottom of the barrel type options. I'm hearing like David Raum from Leipzig and some other dons that I, unless they're on Football Manager and I've started a save with a mid team in Bundesliga, I'm not looking to try and buy that don. So it's looking a bit ropey. I heard we also linked with the Kone again, which I wouldn't mind. I like him at Roma. He looks like a solid player. He played pretty well at the World Cup. But yeah, man. I mean, in terms of the deals we've done, I'm really happy with Tielemans. Andre Santos, to the friendly point, even though it could mean nothing, has looked very solid in midfield in pre-season. So I'm starting to understand a bit about why the Chelsea fans were losing their mind for them selling him, because he actually looks like a handy player and not just some of their deadwood. So let's see how that goes. And that youngster we got from Tottenham, he looked decent as well. Coming on.
Have you given up on too many yet?
That one's so weird, isn't it? Because I think Romano, here we go, the new contract, which was really weird. I didn't know that was a here we go thing. But yeah, apparently it hasn't been announced. So I think them not getting Rodri has ended that, though. Because I think that was very much, if Rodri came in, then someone would have to leave. And they were trying to push Camavinga out, but it seems like Camavinga's very against that idea. So the Tchouaméni options.
Why aren't you lot trying to go for Camavinga? You can play left back and centre mid.
I was just going to say,
literally solve both problems.
Not the perfect player for your thing.
Nah, but I think on paper it looks like it, but apparently his form hasn't been good and he's been injured bare. So I think we've gone down that road a million times, signing a player from Real Madrid and they're injured loads or they're past it. We've done that a million times. They can't rope-a-dope us again, hopefully. So I like him as a player, but yeah, I don't know, man. I haven't seen him loads. So I'm reading what people are saying about him. So I would prefer, even though Kone's injury record is not great either, I would prefer for us to go for a player like that in midfield rather than go for a Tchouaméni. Also, people are talking about price being crazy on him. So to the miserly point again, I don't know if that's doable. Looking at the deals we've done this summer.
You're playing more than one game a week this season, right? You kind of do need to get some bodies in regardless of the price.
Bro, I agree.
If they came from Madrid, if they got injured 3 years ago, you need bodies, man.
But if they're injured, that defeats the whole purpose because then we haven't got the body. They're an injured player in the medical room, right? So we have to get someone who can actually play games. That's why it's pretty key.
Then there's injured, and then there's like some players like Camavinga's injury record is given Black Mason Mount. Like it's
Phil Jones settings.
It's peak.
You should have bought Hendo.
No, fuck that. Thank God we didn't get involved in that. I was upset about Welbeck. Because we could definitely use a striker considering Sesko's still out. I think from the injury that Konate caused in that game, like seems like ages ago, 6 months ago. He's still injured, so we definitely need a striker.
I'm not laughing at him being injured, by the way. I'm laughing
at that was Konate.
And I'm laughing at Kem's face as soon as you mentioned Konate. Like,
exactly. He's traumatized, but we've got to get Kem's point. Less so about the injury thing, but more so about we need to get bodies in. Like guaranteed, we have to get players in. So I don't want us to get involved in the 100 million chat and all that kind of stuff because that's for. I believe when you guys did it with Rice, even Liverpool, even though those signings have so far been diabolical, it makes sense. They were champions. They're trying to build on that. That's when you start spending that kind of cash. We've made the mistake of trying to use that kind of money to fix problems rather than actually get final pieces or try and take you over the line. And we're not at that stage yet. So
you can't make You can't make everyone redundant and then go and spend 100 million on someone either. It's still quite
to that
soon.
point.
They can.
Bro,
It's not good PR.
Bro, they can
Fired
and
the
they
dinner
could.
ladies to get a new midfielder.
Nah. We
It's bad
fired the
optics.
dinner ladies so we can pay for the stadium, which is obviously something which may be another reason why we're not spending money.
Circus
Because
tent.
Yeah,
the new
circus tent,
stadium or
sadly,
fixing the current stadium. I don't know.
no,
what
the
you're
new
talking
one, bro.
about.
The new one.
Why,
But yeah,
why
let's
are you
see.
giving more of a chance to Toby Collier and Harry Amas?
We're gonna sell them, bro. I would give them a chance, but apparently the decision to be made to sell a bunch of the players and try and be like do the Real Madrid stuff that I was chatting with Khem about yesterday. Sell them for a fee, put a buy back in and a sell on clause, and try and make some bread on them. The player that shall not. Like the player that shall not be named who moved to Fenerbahce this season, we got like 15 million off that deal because we put a sell on in it. So I think that's what they're trying to do with the Colliers, the Amas, and all those guys. So
I bet Fletcher's not getting sent out.
bro, he should be. That game against the one that I watched on ITV the other day was fucking diabolical. But I don't want to get to the youngsters, even though it's a bit of a nepo situation. But yeah, a bit. His actual twin brother is semi-decent, but that one that played, he's not. So yeah, that was rough, man. But yeah, let's see what happens. I don't want it to be the case, but I'm hoping that there's going to be some activity near the deadline day because we seem to think that's when to go shopping. What do you call it? Christmas Eve shopping. That seems to be our approach these days. So yeah, that's where United are at. Let's go on to Liverpool then, Khem. Talk about needing to buy players. Munoz, jacket from last season, your jacket potato, and you've signed Ronald Araujo from Barcelona on loan. You're going to have to do you've got some splaining to do, bro. You've got some splaining to do. What's going on?
Richard Hughes is already working for Al Hilal. Like, I saw links of this guy trying to get Diaz over to whatever team he's with in Saudi. Sorry, Al Hilal, literally. His head's already been turned for months to work over at PIF. His dad, Michael Edwards, is already gone because the multi-club thing
And done
shelved,
research.
Arguably, they might bring it back, which is kind of funny because Bezos could afford multi-club. But, oh well, it's unlucky Edwards. I don't know what this team are doing, to be honest. I can only just say this guy is a shit sporting director. Like, he's actually shit. Like, I don't agree. I don't think we're always like given bare props in the media all the time. And as you say, but one thing I will say is Ornstein was glazing this guy, noshing this guy like crazy in a summer when he didn't sign anyone. Like, he actually gave a new manager. Arne Slot wasn't given any new players in his first season. And Richard Hughes somehow lucked out and was taking pics with a Premier League trophy at the end. Absolute fraud. I'm sorry, but people like Munoz, or when we sign, or if you look at someone like a Solis or those underrated gems, or when you get them for a decent enough fee that you don't expect, like even Bruno, I think that's good sporting director work. Breaking your transfer record twice isn't expert fucking sporting director work. You're literally just splashing the cash that the previous manager never ever even thought was possible, right? That's not even fair. So, and also you're breaking a transfer record and it's taking you to the last day to do it with Isak. You know what mess that caused with him not really getting settled at all for the whole season. The one thing no one wanted was to have another transfer saga the following season. Like, that's the one thing we didn't want. So Munoz, we don't know how he will be because he got injured in the World Cup and he didn't play a single minute. And he's there running around like he's parked with their World Cup trophy. Only Ferran is doing more. Fair enough. See how he gets on. Jaque's still injured, I think, because he busted his shoulder. Leone's still coming back from an ACL. And we managed to replace Canate with a Uruguayan Canate in Araujo from Barcelona. So I don't know what deals he's got with Barca to help them with FFP, because that's clearly what it's done so that they can register some players, probably Rodri. So I don't know what shady deals are going on. Like, is there a Saudi influence now in Barca? I don't fucking know, because that's the only thing I'm getting out of it. We've just replaced one Bozo with another, he's also injury prone. And we still have Joe Gomez, who got injured in his first 5 minutes of preseason action. So that's wonderful at the back. Robertson, loads of key players, loads of veterans have obviously gone. We all know that. I don't know why Curtis Jones is still there. I saw this guy arguing and crying because he wasn't given the armband in a preseason game. Like, bro, you're still the same player when you're 18. You still hog the ball.
It means more.
You get injured all the time. You're not known for like creativity, goals, assists. You're not known for like being a workhorse. Like, what kind of midfielder actually are you? You're just a pro clubs player with like a shitty rating. That's all Curtis Jones is. Like, he's only still here because he's Scouse, let's be real. If he was from fucking Stevenage or like Oldham, the guy would have been long gone, right? So yeah, I don't know why Richard Hughes is still here. He's useless. When we're talking about the buyback clause, we sold Jarell Quansah for 30 mil and he put in a buyback clause for double that. And it's expired. So like, what are we doing? Like, what if he turned out good? We'd have to pay double and we would just look like mugs. If you really rated him, you'd keep him. And there's no sell-on clause either. So we can't even finesse someone when they're trying to like upgrade on Saliba and get a new centre-back in. We can't even finesse and get some money out of him, for crying out loud. And as for Barcola, no, he's not worth one. He's not worth 100. A lot of players aren't, to be honest. At the time Dembele went, he wasn't, and Coutinho certainly wasn't. A lot of players that are 100 million aren't worth 100, but they go for it. But they're going to price him at that because the guy had a semi-decent World Cup and he's back-to-back Champions League winner. So they're going to, and they don't need to sell him. So they're going to price him high. I'm just concerned, and I'll go back to Richard Hughes again. Diamande / Rock Nation rejected us 6 weeks ago. And we're still looking for a fucking wide player. And it's a left wide player. We don't even have a right winger yet. Like, Iraola started like working with Ngamoha to play on the right. Like, he's having to remix players now in different positions that they haven't done before, which is a good trait. I think players should be versatile, but it's all because this sporting director is sitting on his hands doing fuck all. So Jeff Bezos isn't really known for like his employee sort of rights kind of very well, allegedly. So I kind of hope he can do one more to Richard Hughes and whoever his associates are and just do one more fucking removal of someone at a workplace in whatever situation needs to be done effective immediately. Please, that would be fantastic. Prime next day, send him to Saudi and we get someone else in that can actually fucking do some work and not do anything. Because the last guy, even though he was working from Ibiza and he was only there because he was like someone that made Klopp laugh all the time, at least he actually rebuilt our whole midfield. Endo went, Milner went, Fabinho was washed, but he activated Szoboszlai's release clause. Quick ting, guy got a whole preseason. McAllister, before his hair fell out and his fucking legs went, baller. We all think McAllister was good. Let's be real. 35 million. That's a great fee for McAllister back then, okay? Boom. Early transfer done. Whole preseason. Even, Gravenberg, unproven at Bayern, but there's talent there. He was good at Ajax, came in through the ranks. Boom. Early transfer, about 30 million. Done. And then, we got rejected by Kai Spice and fucking Lavia, but Lavia don't play. And even Zubimende with his love for the Basque Mountains. But he still went out and got one more Don that fits Klopp's no dickheads approach, which was Wata Endo. And he came in and done a job for us. Is he amazing? No, but he was a key player. And another body in a position where injuries are high. He done more work from Ibiza than this arsehole's doing wherever he is. Like, just go, Richard, please. It's just, why are you doing two jobs at the same time? You couldn't even do one job properly for one club. I just want this guy gone. Like, that's why we're in this position.
So you're okay with people doing the job for Ibiza, but Arnie Slot could catch a fucking break every time he went to Ibiza.
Liverpool need to stop having any links to Ibiza for a start. That would be great.
Yeah, I think so.
But
you
Richard
and that
Hughes
island don't
just,
mix.
He could, like I said to you yesterday, and he could here we go Barcola right now, and even that Mbaye guy that we linked with also apparently, which I'd buy two players from PSG. We can't even buy one, for fuck's sake. He could here we go them right now. He could sell Gakpo right now. I still need Richard Hughes gone. He's actually useless because Iraola's now going to have I think the transfer will happen, but he's going to have a player that's coming that was late back from the World Cup, hasn't played any preseason because he's quote unquote ill. You know how that goes, the fake injury shit. And he's going to have to get up to speed, and it's the same rubbish yet again in a new league, just like we had last season. I don't think that's fair on a new manager, and that's two new managers that are coming into a new team. He's basically set up to fail. So we've done diddly squid.
You can't sell a winger, to be honest, right now. You can't sell anyone.
That's what I mean. Not specifically Cody Gakpo, but I know that Khem loves Cody Gakpo, so I made it about Cody Gakpo. But
no, we can't. We can't. It would be. It's something that he would do. We sold. we sold Kwanzaa before getting in Gahey. And also, hang on a second, how come it's okay you can splash 130 or whatever you want to spend on this Don, yeah? But an extra 5 million for Gahey is problematic. Like, this guy is shit, man. He's actually so shit as a sporting director. Like, I don't know why he's here. I don't know why Ornstein's up his ass, but I need this guy out of the club, man. He's someone who can actually just
leave Ornstein alone. Right?
I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. I said, you know what's so beautiful about this, right? I'm pretty sure all of us have said different parts of what Khem just said on his rant at different parts of last season, and we got absolutely flame grilled on here for being haters and having and just trying, like, so many of the things he said. To use his famous phrase, we were crazy early and crazy right on about this. And the only person I feel bad for, apart from Khem, because, you know, we do love you, bro, is Iriola. Because I love Iriola, and he's been fucked. He's not going to do... Like, he could be a really good manager. And stylistically, it could be closer to the Klopp style that you loved so much and got all the Scousers, crushing their teeth. But he's not gonna do it with this squad.
I disagree, right? And the reason I say that is because Liverpool do well when they're up against some sort of adversity, right? Like the City behind them. It was like Arnie starting his first season, right? No, I know that, but that's my exact point, right? Like, the first season that Arnie sort of came in, they gave him absolutely nothing. All the fans were like, all right, expectations are low, whatever. And then they go out and smash it. The season where they splash all the cash, they give everyone everything that they had ever wanted, you're absolute shit. And now you're getting to this point of being like these entitled fucking, like Man United and... Sorry, Anne, but you get my point, right? These entitled fans that think that they deserve the world because they won a bunch of trophies in 1940s, right? Like, that's the problem of what's happening to you right now. Last season spoilt you. Before that, you were used to getting nothing. You were used to getting shit signings. You were used to getting fucking absolutely rubbish. You get one season where you splash the cash a bit, and now...
Yeah, and I was screaming FSG out.
All I heard was, we bought Salah from Roma. Look at the pic, look at the laptop nerds, the MacBook's going crazy. And now it's like, all right, fucking throw that laptop off the Burj Khalifa because it's useless. But it's like, guys, just settle yourself back down. I actually think that Iriola will do really well because all of you lot will just fucking moan the life out of it, put your expectations in the absolute mud. So everyone thinks you're going to be dog shit. And then he's got something to work with, right? If you gave him, all of the new players, if you kept Salah, if you did all these other things, you'd be putting like a lot of pressure on him to say, mate, you need to fucking do something with this team now. But I actually think it's perfect. You're going to have shit players. You're going to have a bunch of like what we consider to be failed transfers from last season. And he's going to make something out of them. He's going to remind people, actually, these 100 million pound players are not just garbage players. They're actually really good.
Do you know who Lewis Kumas is?
I don't care. Right.
The only because he's the guy that's been playing right wing the whole pre-season. He's literally our only dedicated right winger that we technically have. All our players wouldn't have like a picture on FIFA or like even Fantasy Prem. It would be like a default blank fucking LinkedIn image. That's what it would be. Have you seen
regen players?
Have you seen our bench? Right, you haven't seen it because there's nobody there. It's Curtis who doesn't want to be there, Jones. He wants to go and wear Prada and all that shit in Milan. So he can go there with his nappy hair and do that, right? Endo retired from playing for Japan, and he's borderline retiring from playing from football, really and truly. McAllister, I don't know, he's a bit of a fraud. Somehow he was able to run for Argentina, but couldn't run for us. But everybody ran past him. He was still the highest numbers of dribbles completed against him. So he was going to just be drowning in the Prem once again. We're going to have to play a child in Ngamoa, another child in Nione, and whoever partners Van Dijk is a child. I'm assuming Araujo, I don't know, can he might have to play right back for crying out loud because we don't have any. Bradley's still hurt and he's crap. Frimpong was a waste of money, to be honest, let's be real. He was just bought to have for squirts, have someone to chat to. Like, we somehow spent so much money and went backwards. It's really incredible work from Richard Hughes. I have to almost applaud it. Like, how do you have less? How's the fridge got emptier, but you went to the shop and spent bare? Like, I don't understand how they've done it. So, yeah, just need Jeff to just remove.
Beautiful stuff.
I disagree with one thing that you said, Antony. I don't feel sorry for Khem, and I don't
I
feel
knew that
sorry
was
for
it.
Raiola either. Because to be honest, yeah, this is like, bro saw a bad beat out and he did a CRB check,
Oh,
and
you
he
knew
got
that
told
was
by
coming.
the man them like, she hits her man, like she hits her boyfriend, like she don't treat him very well. Look at all the stuff that he did for her. He literally got her this last year, and she's still slapping man up on the high street. And he went, yes, thank you. I'd like some of that, please. It's like when man go to Chelsea, innit? Like, obviously, this new manager situation at Chelsea, nobody knows what we're gonna get. But if it goes diabolically and they have another 2 managers this season, will anybody be upset or surprised? And I feel like when you set a precedent by like the way that Arne Slot was treated by Liverpool, whether you want to talk about the club, whether you want to talk about the fans, I obviously understand why Iraola would want to go there. It's Liverpool FC. I'm not being dense. But at the same time, it's like when you go there, you know what you're signing up to, innit? Like there's no tiny violin for you, broski. Like this is the job. This is what comes with it. So yeah, you can have your like laptop nerd discussions, you can have your sporting director discussions. At the end of the day, like I've said about Arsenal several times when we've discussed transfers and players and systems, at the end of the day, at some point, the buck has to stop with players. And like, why are we just accepting like, oh, Frimpong, yeah, not very good, waste of money. Wirtz, like I haven't heard a Liverpool fan voluntarily talk about Wirtz in so long. It's crazy. Like, Khem only referenced him in terms of cussing Frimpong. Like he didn't talk about him at all when he was talking about all the things that are wrong with the Liverpool team. So it's like at some stage, like you got Alexander Isak, who is not new to the league. People were talking a lot about strikers, certain strikers that now have Premier League medals, and talking about, oh yeah, well, like but like missed his first year in the bro. Obviously Isak was injured, but you've still got like a top player there. It's at some point you've got a top player, you've got a top coach, you're supposed to be in this big club with all of this pedigree. Like, go out and do your job, bro. Like, do your jobs. Like, someone needs to do their job. Like, I hear what you're saying in terms of being short on players, but at the end of the day, the performances from players that when you guys had all of those pieces, the performances weren't there, and I feel like that is step one before we start like.
So a lot of these players won the league 2 years ago, right? I mean, a lot of these players are still Premier League winners from 2 years ago. So I do think like
whoever plays alongside Virgil is going to be a child. He's Virgil van fucking Dijk.
It's being overblown slightly in the year that
Disney's
you are
finished.
completely useless, right? Yeah, all right, fine.
Not
But my
according
point
to
is like
Liverpool, man.
it's being overblown in that you're like some awful team now. Let's be honest. You still look across your 11 and you can still definitely challenge for top 2, top 3, right? Like you're everyone told me last year the league was so bad, right? We haven't seen that many crazy transfers, so the league is still relatively bad. You've still got a lot of good players. I get your point, right? In that when you won the league, you should have kicked on and done more and done more and done more. But you tried to do that and it went tits up. So now you're going to have to rebuild a little bit. You're still not far away. Like you're not, let's be honest, what was it? Like Chelsea 2 years ago, Man United 2 years ago before they bought Mbeumo and all those, like, where you've just got dead players all over the place. You've still got good players.
I mentioned the squad size.
You've still got Szoboszlai. No, I get you. Squad size, I get that, right? And the fact that you're in Europe will definitely actually hurt you now in that you will have to do that. But from the point of view of Iraola, I think Iraola can make something out of this team, right? Everyone said that he's a coach more so than a manager. Look at all the players at Bournemouth that everyone thought were absolutely dead. Like Justin Kluivert. Man had him fucking banging in, was it 4 goals in the same game and all this crazy stuff, right? So I'm not saying that he can definitely just do that with all of your players, but you've got a coach there. You've got a good foundation, at least of a good 11 or say good 15 players. Of course, you're not going to be great in all of your competitions, but let's be honest. You're not going to be able to be great in all of your competitions regardless. You're going to need a squad size of like 30 players to do that.
I mentioned the squad size because I think his style will lead to injuries, especially considering how unfit the team were last season. Like it's been it's been stated many times that they didn't train much. A lot of it might have been, especially the preseason with post Trossard's funeral and stuff. But Iraola's even come out and said these guys can only really play for 45 minutes, like in terms of what he wants. And obviously it's early days. So you'd expect them to have to adapt and almost relearn a new way of working. But I do think this style of play will be conducive to injuries, especially if it's going to be similar to or somewhat similar to Jurgen's style. We had injuries all the time. Now, he will be a player that will blood in the young players, which is something Slot didn't do. So that's okay. Like, it's not necessarily you need to go out and get this guy, and that guy. Maybe Lewis Kumas might turn out to be okay. But I just think back-to-back seasons going back to Slot's first year technically, and this one, the fact that the same sporting director hasn't really given the new guy coming in a chance to kick on with anything is just conducive to him. So that's where my blame just goes towards him. I'm confident in Areola to do well, but I think we're going to lose bodies as the season goes on just because they were unfit already, and now they're going to have to be playing this style of play in a very difficult, a very intense league, a very weak.
You're all right. You're all right. I think everyone's right in this point, though. Like, I think the squad building thing is definitely a factor because, to Khem's point, they've got like 4 left wingers and they're trying to buy more left wingers and they haven't got a right winger. So it just doesn't make any sense. Like, some of the deals they're doing doesn't make sense. The defense, they've lost players with contracts ending, failing to sign them, and they've got crocked players and they bring in Araujo. It's just weird. But there is enough talent.
That's another thing. Richard Hughes can't even retain players. He can't even bring in players, and he can't even retain players.
Because you've got no pool.
Yeah.
Araujo is the bozo gene.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Super bozo.
I have no idea how you get
bozo.
rid of Kanate. I have no idea how you get rid of Kanate and go and get him. But
honestly, calling him the Uruguayan Kanate is so on point. And that's harsh on Kanate, I think. It's probably quite harsh on Kanate because Kanate had a disastrous last season, but he was pretty good the rest of it. And from what I've seen of Araujo, I can't remember a good game. He's been fucking shit every time I've seen him. So, yeah, let's see. Maybe he'll suit the Prem, but I don't know. It's just weird. But to Razor and Johnson's point, you have bought players in previous transfer windows that have shown high quality in previous seasons. So at some point they've got to do that. I just think to go from where they were and have been performing to try and get back to that level, they're not going to be able to do it in one swoop, I think. So I think it's going to be challenging, but either way, it's going to be fun viewing because if it does work, Iraola's style is pretty fun to watch. And if it doesn't work, then as haters, we all get to watch and laugh and enjoy. But all right, let's go on to the Community Shield preview. Arsenal versus City, it's on Sunday. Am I right in saying it's not being held at Wembley? I think I heard something about it being in Cardiff or somewhere outside. Yeah.
It's because the Weekend's performing.
Okay. All right. I thought that was at the Tottenham Stadium, but all right. Anyway. Arsenal versus City. What do you, man, make of the Community Shield? Because I know we've all had banter on this show before and we all do in a group chat about counting it as a trophy. But do you actually think this game is going to have any bearing on the upcoming season? Or do you think it's just a friendly, basically, glorified friendly?
I'm legally obliged to say that the Community Shield is an important trophy. And I can't remember what I said before, but whatever I said before, I still feel about it. But I care a little bit less. Can't lie. I care a little bit less. I'll be honest.
I think, exactly to your point, right? It's like it's the English Super Cup, right? From that point of view. But from my point of view, like any given, even one single game, one individual game in the Premier League in isolation doesn't mean that much for the overall right of the league, right? Like last season, we lost to City, we lost to we lost to Liverpool, we lost to Man United, we still won the league. So if you look at any game in isolation, I don't think it means much in the 38-game league, right? It's more about the form over time. But from the point of view of the fact that like the likelihood is Arsenal will put out a strong team, Man City will put out a strong team. From that point of view, like of course it's a game that you want to win. And I've seen a lot of stuff in like all of these interviews with Mourinho and Kai Havertz and everyone asking them, "Oh, is this just a glorified friendly?" When I didn't see anyone asking fucking Rodri that the years before, or asking Van Dijk that the year before. I don't know what they're trying to get at, but they keep asking all of our players, "Is this just a friendly?" And they're all just saying, "Well, any game against Man City is not a friendly because we ain't friendly with them. We don't like them." So from the point of view of getting one over your rival, we're obviously going to try and win that game. Does it mean very much in the context of the overall season? No, not really. But I'd argue our first couple games of the season probably won't mean that much either in the overall course of the season. So I think it's an important game to get one over on your rivals. But from the point of view of like it being a trophy that you're going to be like really cherishing, or it showing whether you're going to win the league or not, I don't think it means much. Because we won the Community Shield in years where we did not win the league and vice versa. So I'm not all that bothered about it, but I will be a little bit annoyed if we lose it.
Yeah. I don't even think it'll be super
It's,
indicative of the way that we're planning on playing this season as well. I think both of the managers will be looking at trying different things and they'll be looking at bringing in different profiles and players. And we might get like a very, as Jonty said, two strong teams, but it might be very experiment-y. If that makes sense. Like I don't know if it's going to be like, okay, this is the way. I don't think Arsenal are going to set up against City in the Community Shield the way that we're going to set up against Coventry at home for the first day of the Prem season. Do you get what I mean?
It's going to be the World Cup final from a couple of years ago. PSG are going to give absolutely zero fucks about it. Chelsea are going to care about it. And I think it's going to be the other way around with us. I think City will care. Enzo Maresca will care. I'm not sure if we'll care as much.
I don't know, man. I actually think
when we win,
go on, Kev.
I was just gonna say when we win it, it's the English Super Copper. When we're not playing it, it's just some bollocks match. But they should rename it and they should get rid of one of the domestic cups, and it might actually elevate the FA Cup and then bring more profile to this Shield. But it won't impact the season in any way. But you're gonna want to beat like the team that you can't stand. You know, the whole stay humble and all that shit. You're gonna want to win against them. So that's all I got for it.
Yeah,
I need to see us slap up Enzo's head, mate. I need to see Arteta at the back of his head.
Can I just say there is a curse? There is a curse, though. The teams that usually win it don't win the league. There's like I think in the Premier League here, I think only 10 teams have won it and then went on to win the league the same season. It's a real curse. It's like a Congo witch doctor type thing.
I mean, I think the teams that do avoid Khem's questionable choice of curse examples have pretty much been the ones that are just like the dynasty teams, right? Like I think most of them have been like United and under Fergie, a couple times Pep, with City and some other teams like maybe an Arsene Wenger team or a Klopp team. Well, no, like a Klopp team and Arsene Wenger team. The ones that have had periods of dominance over the league have been the ones that have gone against it. But since we've had quite a few different winners
we didn't go
over
against
the last
it,
10 years.
We didn't go against it. The year we finished 5th, we won that Shield and then finished 5th, bro. It just rather not.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna. It is gonna be experimental. I don't know if I agree with you, John. I think both teams are gonna want to win, but just not be that bothered if you lose. And I think they just try out a few different.
My point was more just intra-friendly, right? Like I saw Gabby Jesus start against Como. I saw Kepa start against Como. I fucking better not see them start against Man City in the Community Shield, otherwise I'm going to lose my shit.
I don't know if all of them will, but they might. They might. Not all of them, but some of them might, because generally this is like, it comes at a bit of a weird time before the season where, if you're, especially in a World Cup year where you've got players coming back, that they don't feature as much as you might want them to, or they may come off the bench, for example. But I think it should be a decent. And all that. Yeah, it should be a decent game. Obviously, Arsenal, City were the top 2 teams in the league as well last season, so it's like I know City are there because they won the FA Cup, but it's the 2 best teams from last season, and it'll be interesting. I'm more kind of interested to see how City play, because they've obviously got the new manager, and they probably won't have Rodri in midfield, and it'll look quite different than I'm assuming than it did last season for them. Whereas he was seen at
Ryanair flying back.
I was going to say, isn't he on his way back to Luton Airport or something?
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to play. Do you think he's going to play? I don't think he'll play, man. I don't think he'll play. I really doubt he'll play. It'll be Anderson. It'll be Anderson.
He'll be ill.
Exactly. It'll be Anderson and Kovacic or something like that.
Okay. I was going to say, Johnny Reinders going to get run out, but he's been fucking sold, hasn't he?
Market.
Yeah, Reinders is gone, by the way. We do need to call that out, just so that I know Nash hasn't been on for a while. He does deserve his very occasional praise. He was very, very early on Reinders being horseshit, and man lasted 1 season. By the way, how the hell they've sold him for 60 million?
Don't If you want to go to whatever you need to do this afternoon,
No.
don't start the discussion.
I'm not going to. But absolutely bonkers. But yeah, who do we reckon's going to win? We're not going to include it in the prediction league, but I'll go around the houses. John, who do you reckon's going to win? Arsenal or City?
Arsenal 2-1.
All right, Arsenal 2-1. Khem, what's your prediction for this one? Mate, I don't know what's happened to your audio, but nothing came through.
We did not hear you.
He's turned into Reese.
Was I lagging?
No, we can hear you now. Say it again.
We can hear you now. What's your prediction?
Arsenal 1-0. 1-0 Arsenal, keep the curse going.
Fuck you.
All right, Razor, what's your prediction for this one?
As a Nigerian man who takes curses very seriously, I just want to rebuke Khem and all the evil that he brings with him to the table. I actually think it's going to be quite high scoring. I don't know why. I think it's because we've been absolutely fucking leaking goals pre-season, but I think it's going to be a 3-2. I am going to go 3-2 Arsenal.
You know what? I'm gonna be
Pepper starts basically.
I'm gonna go 1-1, and then I'm gonna say City to win on penalties. I feel like Community Shield always ends in penalties, or it's often penalties because teams are still in slight pre-season mode. And if we go by the last penalty shootout you lot had, I'm going to go with the same result that the other team's going to win it. We
won the last shootout that we had, mate. It was against.
I'm not including friendlies. Yeah, I'm not including the friendly ones, bro. Because even we won our friendly ones and we're shit in penalty shootouts. But yeah, all right, cool. We'll wrap up the pod here. Then next week we'll obviously do our Premier League preview ahead of the Premier League season starting. We'll also give our Premier League predictions as well for best player, top 4 Premier League winners, etc. And we'll obviously kick off the prediction league again as well. As you can see by Khem's subtitle, he did win the World Cup one, which thankfully we haven't heard too much about until now. But we will get back into that as well. But yeah, we'll wrap up the pod here. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, drop us a like, leave a comment and share the video. And if you're listening on the audio podcasting platforms, please follow us, leave a 5-star review. That all helps us grow the pod. And we'll catch you guys next week. Thanks, everyone.